Brought to you by...
The beauty about urban myths is that there are no shortage of them. Thousands exist around the globe and are told in numerous variations throughout different social groups. When involving them in a narrative that you wish to tell, and you take the story into a more theatrical setting, it allows for you to creatively weave in a whole new collection of twisted and macabre ideas, some that are not necessarily all that grounded in reality, and give life to tales as old as time, ones that could use a bit of a modern flair. Strap yourselves in, friends, because Amy Mayfield has an idea for her thesis film, and it's gonna be killer. Tall tales turn into chilling reality in this sequel to the 1998 horror hit Urban Legend. Amy Mayfield is a film student at Alpine University, where students are about to compete for the prestigious Hitchcock Award. Against the better judgment of her peers, Amy has decided to make a horror film about urban legends that suddenly and disturbingly come true. However, as Amy and her student cast and crew begin filming staged murders for the project, members of the team begin dying for real, and the survivors have to track down the killer before they become the next victims in Urban Legends Final Cut. Once again, this is a film that delivers another well-gathered group of familiar faces, including a pre-House and Once Upon a Time Jennifer Morrison, Joey Lawrence, Matthew Davis, Anthony Anderson, Eva Mendes, Loretta Devine, yes, she came back for another round as Reese, and... wait.
Hans. Bobby.
No fucking way.
That's pretty cool.
Once again, I don't find any of their performances all that grand, but what can you do? I will give this film that Jennifer Morrison is a far better trade-off for a protagonist, offering a more expressive and believable performance than the plank that was Alicia Witt. This film made the decision early on to go in a slightly different direction than its predecessor, still maintaining the concept, but distancing itself from the events of the original. It doesn't try as hard to set up red herrings, like the original did with the jackets. And it doesn't make any attempts visually to take any more risks than the first one did in terms of camera work. Which is funny because this film opens pretty strongly. While the first film ends with a play toward the myth about the missing kidney in the tub of ice, this film opens by fully realizing that legend in a more graphic way. That almost makes this one pick up right where the last film left off, while at the same time telling us that things will be far more visceral this time around. However, it doesn't really pull through, as the only real brutal gore that we see comes in the form of film within the film props. I did notice a few sound level issues throughout this one, where loud sequences were far too loud, while dialogue heavy sequences were far too quiet. Though one could chalk these up to the fact that the film was mixed for theatrical presentation, it also chooses to play up this whole secret twin angle, which I felt was unnecessary and sort of cheesy. I think it would have been far more interesting to see the twin brother worked in to the narrative earlier on, or at least known about from the get-go. Otherwise, it just feels like a cheap attempt to cut down on budget by not having to hire another actor. Plus, it didn't help matters that they kill off Travis unceremoniously off-screen, making the introduction of the twin, Trevor, far less impactful than it otherwise could have been. The film once again plays the strings of that same dark past angle that the original did, even making it relevant to the overall reasoning behind the events that are unfolding and playing into the motives of the antagonist. Speaking of which, they took a new direction with the killer this time around, giving him a sleeker and more theatrically driven look that fits in well with this film's aesthetic. At first, it doesn't seem quite like it makes much sense. However, when you consider that he's stalking film students around film sets that are littered with props and costumes, you realize that he could honestly be wearing anything and it would have worked. One of the reasons I like these films is because how they are able to weave in a huge variety of urban myths in various forms, and each one uses different legends than the last. I'm also always interested in films that are centered around filmmakers. For someone like me, it's a relatable subject and character base. Not to mention, this film hit the shelves in 2000. There weren't many films at that point that explored the idea of independent or student filmmaking as a part of the narrative, and honestly, we still don't have many to this day. I think the thing that drives me the most crazy about this film is the inconsistency within the film that the characters are creating. Granted, we see most of it out of context, so it doesn't even begin to form a cohesive structure. I feel like it would have elevated things so much further if we had gotten to see a well-crafted film coming to life over the course of this narrative. Being pieced together scene by scene, our characters shooting in sequence, and having their film story ultimately tie in to the overarching development of this urban legend flick. Just like the first, I'm giving Urban Legend Final Cut a B+. For those who are fans of the first like me, I definitely recommend this one. For me, this was a proper follow-up to a film that was playing in unique waters for the time, and it almost felt to me like it was planned from the get-go to flow naturally from where the first film left off. There aren't many sequels that I can say this about. If you haven't seen these films as slasher fans, then I would go back and check them out together. With some popcorn and dim lighting, it could make for a fun night. Before we wrap up today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about today's sponsor, NordVPN. With more than 10 years of experience, NordVPN is one of the world's leading VPN providers. Cybersecurity may be very complex, but NordVPN makes it as easy as it gets. Cutting-edge technology shield your internet activity from hackers and malware, protect you on public Wi-Fi networks, and even block annoying ads. NordVPN protects your IP address and makes sure that no one else can see which websites you visit and what files you download. And now, until the end of April, if you sign up using the links down in the description, you can get a whopping 70% off a 3-year plan. Real internet privacy is just a click away with NordVPN. But that's all for today, friends. If you are enjoying the content so far and want to help us keep bringing new types of videos for you to enjoy, please consider supporting ETF on Patreon, where every pledge goes right back into the channel to help us with upgrading equipment, maintaining our software, and checking out new flicks to discuss here. If you want to see more videos like these, feel free to let us know down below, or give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.